Hello, it's that time again. Get up, get off the couch, and tackle your to-do list. On today's episode, it's all about options. Tired of your bathroom ceramic tile and grout joints? We're going to feature a gorgeous, custom, seamless, cultured marble wall installation above a tub. Load the truck, ladders, tools, all materials. And don't forget the coffee maker. Let's go. I am your host, Bob Assadourian. Today we tackle a viewer's email on bathrooms. Hello, Bob. Love the show. We are thinking of totally remodeling our bathroom, but do not want to tile above the new metal bathtub. What are some alternatives, please? Thank you, Debbie and Phil. It's these questions that create today's episode. So it's very important. Our database, our show is interactive. Send us all your home improvement questions. Now, today's episode is about bathrooms. The homeowner has a question, a good question. I want you to think about it this way. Here's the motto from our good friends at Products. Their motto is, simply put, no grout, no mold. So when you eliminate the grout from the equation, you will not have mold growth. So an alternative is 3/8 thick cultured marble panels that are installed as close to seamless. And believe me, Phil gets those panels put in extremely tight. Gorgeous panels for above a shower or above a bathtub. Now, speaking of bathrooms, very important to understand. Unlike reality television, today's host is licensed, so I can speak from experience. Licensed as the contractor and the master. As far as finding the right contractor for you and your home, on your screen, pause, scan the QR code. That will take you to over a dozen news interviews covering every single aspect of finding and hiring the right contractor for your home. So again, learn from our experience. Now, before we jump into answering this question, a lady phoned me the other day. It was about windows, and she had a mile-long question. So we have a fast-paced, busy show today, but I want to definitely answer this homeowner's question. On your screen now, pause, scan your QR code. That will take you to our ever-growing database, and that half-hour episode nails it. Everything you ever want to know about windows, beginning to end. Stay tuned. Up next, we visit Rudy. We're on location at our job site. We start putting up the cultured marble walls. Welcome to our job site. This is a lovely brick bungalow where we've partially gutted the bathroom. We completed the electrical work, the wiring rough-in last episode. Now it is time for our friends from Products to join us and work their magic. Our famous installer, Phil, a magician when it comes to cultured marble. Welcome, Phil.
Hey, how's it going, bud?
Good. Awesome to see you. Awesome.
Good to see you.
It is a perfect day for this because, as you'll see soon, we want to do some of the prep work outside. So in putting up the tent, that will give Phil and his crew some shade while also ensuring the materials are well protected from the sun. Inside, we've got the tub area ready. It is a small bathroom. We have a lot to cover on this episode. Phil is going to be moving at a very fast pace, so not to trouble him, Rudy and I will stay out of the way and explain to you step by step what is happening.
So first of all, we don't measure anything at Products. We template with using big pieces of cardboard. So you see Phil now, he's going to nail this up. And the cardboard is a few inches short of the walls, and then he uses a block of wood to back trace. We call it back tracing. And that way, if there's any out of square corners, anything like that, we still get nice tight corners.
So this is the best way to be 100% accurate.
100%.
Amazing system.
Now you'll see how he back traces.
Wow.
Now it is very important that you use the same piece of wood you back trace outside when he goes to the tables to cut the piece, because if you use another piece of wood, it could be a different width. We never have to cut twice because we template once.
Smart.
Apparently there's a light as well.
Correct. I tell all the homeowners, you gotta have your light.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not mandatory, but it's a smart option.
I agree. So now Phil's lining up. You see the arrows from the marks he put inside on the ceiling. That's his outside edges. So he's putting the finished edge. So the front edge of the panel, of the ceiling panel, is finished. And now he's taping it down, and he puts the other arrow on the other side lineup. So now we know that the front edge is equal to where it needs to be on the inside. The rest of the over pour and all that will be cut off. Phil's been doing this 37 years, Phil, I think, something like that.
38.
38 years. So he uses a metal scriber. We don't recommend that for the do-it-yourselfer. We recommend a pencil. Use a pencil because if he screws that up, he screwed up the panel. If you hear that noise, that's because he's using a metal scribe.
Very refreshing, very pleasing watching a specialist in their field, a master tradesman,
Yep.
apply their trade.
You can see how crooked the one wall is. Like if you stand here and look, and you can see the pencil line. That's why we template, because you see how the pencil is so far away at the front and narrower at the back, and that's because the ceiling, it's an older home and it's not square. There it goes. And because he did the drill on an angle, you saw the way he was tilting the bit a little bit, the centerpiece, instead of fighting to try to poke it out of the inside of the hole saw, it just drops out. So all little tricks that's why you pay the big bucks to learn. It is a dusty process what he's going to be doing now, and so we never cut marble inside a house or a garage or anything, because it is just like cutting concrete, you know. Okay, now Phil's going to be cutting the panels on his marks that he made with the scriber. Notice that we pull the saw backwards. We pull the saw backwards. You see, and it keeps the plate of the saw off of the marble. We don't let it drag. He has his fingers under the plate so it doesn't touch the product. We don't want to scratch it with the saw. So, and we pull the saw backwards. That's an art form in itself. To learn how to pull a saw backwards is not the easiest thing to do either. So, we're using a stone blade, non-tooth stone cement blade. Now if you see the cut, the saw is actually held a little bit crooked, so he bevels back at the bottom, and that's just so when you go to push it into place, it fits. You're not fighting with the material on the back of the piece. You can see it's on, not, if you see the angle you got there now, it's not a straight cut down. He's got a little bit of a taper, and that's just for ease of installation. Again, something you learn in 38 years of installing. We always sand the cut edges a little bit to round them off a little bit, and we do that because when you go to do your final siliconing, it allows the silicone to penetrate into the joint a little bit. If it's a sharp corner, you can't push the silicone in. He's going to score. He's going to score the back. So what we do is we just set this aside now. This is ready to go. He's got his scratch.
Tell us about the scoring though, that's really important.
The scratch on the back is for, if you look, it's hard to tell, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but our product can be shiny, glazy on the top, but what he does is score it, and we hope that the glue, the silicone, when we do sealing, we use both, glue and silicone.
Give it a
bond, so you hit the rough, some rough somewhere. He did a lot around the light because we want that to bond good there. But that's what he's scratching for, to get bonded.
As opposed to sticking to a completely slick surface.
So that's correct.
Very nice, very nice.
And there's the size of the back panel. That's a little bit oversized. This one, we're going to cut it way down. It's going to be a lot lighter going in the house than coming off the truck. So, Now there's no finished edges. There's no finished edges on the back panel, obviously, so he doesn't have to worry about lining up the finished edge or anything. You'll see that again when he does the sidewall. So now he's just got to make the cardboard center so his block of wood fits, and that's pretty straightforward. So you see that, you can see right here a bubble here, a wave like that. That's not fill miscutting, that's fill following the template. That's why we template, because you can see that their customer's wall is actually like a snake. And you can see that in that cut right there, and that's why we template.
Remember, I didn't build the house.
No, I know. Yeah, your corner is good.
Zabby, give us a big wave. Production manager at MM.
Yeah, he's gonna have concrete here in about 4 seconds here. So now the real work begins, Bob, because we haven't have to carry this panel.
The heavy lifting.
The heavy lifting starts. Be it a tub, it's always a little bit easier because the
as opposed to a shower.
Opposed to a shower where you're going floor to ceiling. So he's already cut whatever 15, 20 inches off the panel. So
the real heavy ones are above shower stalls.
Shower stalls.
Yeah.
And because they're going the full 8 feet generally. So look at this. Phil, you couldn't have planned that any better, buddy. Right in. Look at that, eh? So Phil's now just putting on the construction adhesive.
Tell me all about that.
Well, you can see he's doing dabs. What are they, 6 inches apart or so, or even closer. Phil, again, he makes it look a lot easier than it is.
Oh, I know. That takes some wrist strength. That takes forearm and wrist strength.
And to cut, how to cut it with the tip of the gun is the trick. But it's going to take the do-it-yourselfer a little longer, but it's okay. And you're hoping with the blobs, of course, that many of them catch the score marks that he put on in the back when he scratched the back with the saw. Now comes the tricky part. And if he's cut it loose enough and to shape, and he has the arrow the right way, this panel should fit right in place. Now you see Phil lifting this panel up and down. What he's trying to do is break the glue pods that he put on. It just spreads them out a little bit more, and again, they're going to catch more of the scratch marks in the back. Now, if you look at the top, you can see that that panel looks like he screwed up and cut it a 1/2 inch too short. So the ceiling now will slide over top of that. So when you're installing the ceiling, the weight of the ceiling, a lot of it will be carried by the back panel. That's why some people are surprised that, yes, we cut the ceiling panel first, but we don't install it first.
And the nails he's putting in now, the nails, they're temporary.
Yeah, they're temporary just to hold it against the wall so the glue sticks a little bit until we get the side panels up. On the ceiling panel, and especially around the light, we do use actual regular silicone because it hardens quicker. It adheres just as good, but it dries faster. And so on a ceiling panel, the less chance of coming down is better, right? Now some glue, and again, we mix it up because of the cost. The cost of the glue as opposed to the silicone. In all honesty, that's wood glue that we're using. It adheres really well to it. You have the dots. Now you don't want to go too close to the front with your dots, because when you put the screws in and suck it in, you don't want the glue or silicone to ooze out the front.
It just makes a mess.
Yep. And then when you try to finish your DAP or when you're painting, then it's hard to paint over glue that's squished out from the pan. Yeah. So it's got to get this to get over top of the back panel. See? Push it in, Zeb. To that pencil mark. Look at the pencil mark. And look at that. Look at the tight fit. He's on his mark. Are you on the pencil mark there, Zabby, on the left side? I think you're in.
And now the C-clamp.
C-clamp's going in. That'll just hold it temporary.
Oh, I love the C-clamp. I mean, you're making strategic use of the hole.
So it's put a nail or two again on under the sides to hold up temporarily. Of course, the sidewalls will hold that up in a minute when we get them done. So now he's got it that he can move it a little bit because he does have to come out about 60.
Suction cup?
So it's in, but it's not in permanent.
Not yet. He
It's
hasn't
in
put the
loose so he can make the
Yeah,
adjustments.
the glue will slide.
Yeah,
There he
yeah.
goes. Look, look, look. See? Now he's actually come too far. Oop, look at that. See?
Nice.
And if you look at that seam at the back panel there, Bob, is mint.
Yes, yes it is.
And again, that's all to the templating. Now we'll put the screws in. Never over tighten your screws. I think Phil will always say, you always do the last.
But I can tell by that sound, he's screwing in my 2x4 on its side. When homeowners have the access, have mapped out where your marble's gonna be, and have a 2x4 on its side in the attic.
Yep, that'd be great.
You don't want the screw spinning in the air.
And you do your last couple turns always with a hand
See?
screwdriver.
He's able to hand torque it now into my stud.
Yeah. So what we do now is we cover the screws with just the little caps. So here we get different color ones depending on
To closely match your marble.
the color of the marble. Today we have browns in there. I don't know, Phil, which one are you going to use? I think the tan ones would look better on this now.
Maybe the black one, contrast.
I don't think so. They got a brown. What do you think?
I'll show you what it looks like.
All right. We'll let Bob decide. How's that? So you just put those in. It don't look bad though, Phil, I gotta say. Oh yeah, definitely the white one. Okay.
I like them both. Now the white.
The white one.
But it's nice to see you have a variety. So you think it through.
Sometimes, a lot of times, of course, these days we're using grays.
Yes.
So we can get these caps in grays. But that looks fantastic. So now that ceiling is done, you see?
Easily.
Yeah. All right, now Phil's doing the faucet wall. So again, he sucks the air out of the bevel out of the cardboard, and he's got to cut out where the faucets are and make the holes in the cardboard. You see what Phil's doing there? Now he puts the level in the back so he knows exactly where the wall ends, and he puts his little arrow, and because the side panels, of course, much like the ceiling panel, are going to have a finished edge. So we have a finished edge on our panel outside, so he has to, he'll put his arrows on the finisher because that edge obviously can never be cut.
So the cut ends up facing the cut on the rear wall. This side is the side that needs to be finished.
That's correct. So you can see how he just, like again, people that measure these holes, and trust me, I've done it myself, and you're an inch or two off when you actually do it for some reason, who knows why. But if you do this, where you mark the centers with your block of wood, see Phil has yet to pull out a tape measure on the site, if you've noticed that. The only time he measures is to cut his cardboard. Again, you see how he angled the drill with the hole saw, and then the piece that was in the middle just dropped right to the ground. Well, we're going to see how good the template worked on this one with all the holes. You can see, again, existing home issues that can come up because you see the way we template and everything. We're flush at the bottom, flush to the wall at the bottom, we're flush at the wall at the top. But if you look back here, you can see that in the middle, this old wall is bowed like crazy, and so you got this issue. So if we put, let's see how good of a job that Phil did. If you look at the level, it's dead level, and so the wall is just old wall and caved in. So, but this is very simple to fix. You put a piece of masking tape on the front of our product, and then you skim with the mud. With your mud, you fill this, you feather it out.
Durabond 90 for the thick fill. And then regular light.
But this happens all the time because it's again not a straight wall in a house. But don't fret over it. Just unfortunately for Bob, a little more work.
Little more work.
Bob, we're putting what we call dog legs, just little strips down to the floor from in line with the panel in front of the tub. It always happens on tubs.
Matching marble.
Matching marble, yeah. So there'd be a little seam there, but.
No, you couldn't do that with the whole template. No, it would fracture possibly.
So we are measuring these pieces. So now that Phil has cut that piece,
dog leg,
sorry, with the little curve at the top and stuff, those are all things that most people don't do.
The curve.
The shape of the tub and stuff.
I'll put our brakes on that too.
He's Phil's like the skill saw master out there, but that's an art form in itself.
So we're using silicone on the dog leg to get the initial grab.
Well, I think because the dabs of the brown stuff would be wider than the piece.
Now, if you'll notice, we also raised it by 3/8 of an inch using a little scrap. Reasoning for that is my finished flooring in here is going to be 3/8 inch thick. So now when that dries and I pull out the little shim underneath, I can tuck in the first row of flooring right underneath.
Mm-hmm. Well, now you see the dog leg is even at the top.
Correct.
So Bob, now that film is complete, the whole job is done, siliconed, soap dish is in, you know, it looks phenomenal.
Outstanding job. And for those of you at home, this is quality. This will truly stand the test of time.
Yep.
That's what it's all about.
We got people coming 40 years, 50 years.
Wow.
We've been doing this, and people say the only time we get repeat customers is when they move. Because they move, and once you've had this product, you'll never do ceramic tile again, right?
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
Tight silicone joints because of the templating, because we saw a couple of the cuts out there, how crooked the walls were.
Yes.
You can't tell when the job
Once
is
it's in and it's completed, you can't tell.
Yep. Soap dish is very nice. Surface mount instead of a cut
Instead
niche.
of a recess. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
The recess can hold water.
That's correct.
You're asking for trouble, potentially.
Potentially. And this is no issue.
A testament to your team, Phil the installer, and your team in the manufacturing process.
Yep.
You had a whole crew manufacturing this
That's correct.
so that it can arrive here and then become installed. You're not ordering these made online.
No.
You make them.
We manufacture everything at our place
Excellent.
in Stony Creek. All these are
Excellent.
hand poured in
Excellent.
Stony Creek. Yeah. And I think when we get to the showroom, then you're going to see some, I think, of the operation of how it's made.
Wow, absolutely stunning. Now, you probably heard Rudy hinting he is willing to share the secret behind how these panels are created right here in Ontario, demystifying the manufacturing process. However, we've actually run out of time today. Next episode, I promise you, we will take you behind the scenes, explain how the panels are made, and also bring you into the gorgeous showroom where we have at least a half a dozen shower, bathtub combinations for you to see, educating you on choices for a beautiful bathroom that will last the test of time. Stay tuned. What you will see on the next episode of Just Ask Bob will be worth the wait. Right now, a quick break. Then we've got a top pick for when it comes to finishing off your bathroom yourself, DIY. For everything home reno, follow us on social media. This segment now is called Bob's Top Picks and Bob's Bewares. From a contractor with over 30 years experience, let me save you time and save money. You have to think about this now. When you cut the crooked and overcharging contractor out of the equation, you save money, lots of money. Reinvest that into the highest quality material that you can afford. Number one, a top pick from Dowsil. This caulking, silicone, is absolutely amazing. In the program that you just watched, in the bathroom installation, this is what was used in the corners for the joints for the cultured marble. This is worth almost $20 a tube. That's why it's a top pick. This will last. This will not grow mold. It will resist mold and mildew growth. Now, talk about skimping. We do not want you spending under $5 for your tube of caulking. That's garbage. You'll be recaulking it all the time, and mold will grow onto it. So please be smart, reinvest the savings into the highest quality materials that you can afford. It really, really makes sense. This program is interactive. It's always a two-way street. Send us all your emails, send us all your home improvement questions. Every question will be answered. Hands down, you have my word on that. Now, we don't have room to answer every question on this program, but new this season, Our newsletter has been picked up by the Bay Observer. Special thanks to John Best. We're really, really proud of that. The newsletter is covered in this publication. Now, in the event that you want to subscribe directly, which you should, because I'm hosting a contest where you can win one of 4 $25 Home Depot gift cards as a present to you to get you motivated up and off the couch to tackle your to-do list. Again, remember, this is a teaching show. We proudly host the largest home improvement database on the net. Everyone learns differently. Some learn by watching, some learn best by listening, others learn best by reading. We have it all. Hundreds of these half-hour home improvement episodes, radio programs as Just Ask Bob, not only on one station, but from 2, and dozens of DIY columns that we answer that have been submitted to us. A university of knowledge for the taking. Now, in today's society, how about just making a call? Are you sick and tired of listening to automated recordings? Call direct. 289-649-0196. Again, that's 289-649-0196. See you next time.